Have you ever wanted to lead your warband into glorious battle? How about becoming a fearsome raider, dominating the continent of Calradia? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story for you. The story of none other than Mengus Bengus, warlord, tyrant, and vagabond. Welcome to Mountain Play 2 Bannerlord, an absolutely silly sandbox RPG where you can struggle to survive among warring nations, unwatched cutthroats, and peasants willing to kill to sell the clothes off your back. Today is where our journey begins. Today is where Mengus Bengus sets out to become God Emperor himself. But we have to start somewhere, and for us, that starts with character creation. Now, the most important part of character creation is choosing the character's culture. Each culture is different than the others and provide the player with a unique and beneficial passive trait, whether it be an XP boost for troops after each battle or to cheaper caravans. Each one is different, but the most advantageous culture for our playthrough will be the Battanians. Well, why, you may ask? The reason is very simple. The Battanian trait allows for 50% less speed penalty through forests. This is absolutely necessary for our survival. If we want to grow and prosper as a warband, we need to be able to evade enemies that are stronger than us and catch those who try to escape. Forests slow you down a lot, so being able to move swiftly through them will give us a massive advantage early game. Now on to actual character creation. And of course, I will be gaming the absolute hell out of the system by making my man Mengus as small as physically possible. Being smaller means less chance for arrows to hit you, and on the difficulty that we're playing at, 1 or 2 arrows is the difference between life and death. As far as other customizations, well, they don't really matter as much, but the Short King was going to have some scars. Finally, there's character progression through childhood. I didn't exactly have a cheesy strategy like most other content creators. I knew that stewardism and social skills would be playing a part in maintaining a larger army, so I tried to spec into that when picking up the occasional archery skill along the way. And thus, Mengus Bengus was born, thrust into an unrelenting world of destruction in order to achieve his destiny of world conquest. My adventure begins like many others, at the training range, obviously. Being a God Emperor leaves no time to train. No, Mengus must make his way home, towards Battania, to begin his recruitment of like-minded psychopaths. So we created our clan, made our banner, and set out for our destination. The way itself wasn't too challenging of a journey, but it's important to remember at the start that you're just a single person in a vast world. Easy pickings for a band of looters. In order to get to Battania, I needed to recruit allies to my cause. Empire peasants would do for now. They aren't the best, but it would protect me until I got to my destination. I rode day and night, through forests and hills, dodging bandits and looters as I went, until I finally arrived at the first Battanian settlement. My main goal was to recruit Battanian Highborn. They are incredible marksmen, and would upgrade into some of the most accurate and devastating archers in the game. The only problem was my reputation was far too low for anyone to trust me with their recruits. I'd have to look elsewhere if I wanted to build an army. I continue my search higher up the mountain, where the Battanians call home, going from village to village attempting to recruit whoever I could find. The beginning stages of Mountain Blade are very important. I had little money, and the gold that I did have was spent on recruiting and paying my troops. I needed to start fighting battles in order to sustain myself. It was at that point I started to notice a pair of bushwhackers trailing us, some of the most deadly bandits in the game due to being range units. I would normally not go against such a foe, especially early game, but I had the number advantage, and so Mengus and his posse of peasants chased down the bandits and confronted them for our first fight in the game. The stage was set, and the troops deployed onto the forested battlefield. I rode hard, trying to close the gap between Mengus and the bandits, in order to buy my peasants some time to get close. With shield raised, I charged the bushwhackers, sending my spear forward. I'd missed my first target, a terrible blunder. Mengus received an arrow to the knee not long after, and before I could do anything else, a knockout blow came from behind. This was a stark reminder for Mengus. He was indeed mortal, and went to curb his ever-growing hubris. Fortunately, Mengus' sacrifice bought enough time for the peasants to get within melee range, and after a bit of a scuffle, those brave men won us the day. With the victory under our belts and loot now acquired, we took the 2 bushwhackers prisoner, before upgrading our troops, and set off to recruit more to our cause. With a few close calls along the way, I spent the days traveling from village to village, recruiting anyone I could find. The next towns to visit would be the Sturgians. Sturgians are hardy, strong Northmen, wielding large shields and deadly axes. They would make for an excellent footman. With the mix of Battanian bowmen and Sturgian axemen, there would be little who could stop our conquest. But we were nowhere near that point. I need to gather a reputation before I can get more troops to join my cause. And besides, I was still too injured to fight when the next battle commenced. After being mortally wounded on the battlefield, you have to wait to be above 20% health before being able to participate in a fight. So instead, I sent my troops forward to win us the day. And they performed better than I'd hoped. Over the course of the next few days, my main goal was to travel from village to village, exploring the nearby surroundings as much as possible, recruiting whoever I came across into my fledgling warband. Through my travels, I tried to pick a fight with as many looters and brigands as I could in order to obtain their loot. Talking about each fight would get repetitive, but I was making progress nonetheless, and morale was growing. This world was vast and expansive, and I knew in order for MENGUS to recruit more people, he'd have to meet the locals and become well known within the region. So my journey continued, day and night, non-stop, only resting for a short time at each village to collect troops. I still only had a handful of men, not nearly as many as the 20 or so that I could possibly have. I played it safe, running from fights I knew I wouldn't have the advantage in, or paying off looters if I couldn't get away. I was getting very confident with MENGUS's position so far, and the warband was slowly growing. During this time, MENGUS had picked up a handful of quests for local villages. Leaders needed grain and tools for their people to survive through the winter, and I was happy to oblige. This increased our standing with the nearby townsfolk even more, and things were looking up. On a particular battle with a band of looters, I had grown a bit too cocky. I was getting better with my spear skill, but headshot with my lance was not enough to down the looter I was running down, and MENGUS paid the price once again. The difficulty of the game made receiving just a few hits a death sentence, but luckily for MENGUS, his loyal followers finished what he had started. It was a close battle, and all my melee infantry were either killed or wounded. Once again, my expectations were tempered, and I learned a valuable lesson. No matter how strong you get, you can still be humbled. I continued on my journey, selling bits and pieces of loot that I had acquired along the way. The gold received for selling all my wares was enough to feed and pay for my growing troops. With more gold, I quickly began to gain more of a following. We were able to recruit more and more troops and fight bigger battles. Things were starting to snowball. Any looter attempting to flee was chased down after each battle, and MENGUS's renown continued to grow. I now had a clear goal in mind: getting to clan tier level 1. At level 1, you are able to unlock the ability to become a hired mercenary for a lord of each faction, as well as recruit more to your army. This would be very much needed, as you receive gold based on each battle you fight. I was close, and at a maxed out army, killing looters was slowly becoming an obsolete way of acquiring currency and gear. But getting clan tier level 1 would be a story for next time. MENGUS's journey had just begun, but we were making good progress. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm trying a new editing style, and so far I like the direction this channel is going. I already have improvements I want to make on the style, and I've recently switched the game over to my SSD, which will help with performance. I hope to be making high quality videos every week or so, and make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Side note after editing, I will also say that I have never actually done anything related to narration before, so if I sounded a little bit off, I apologize, and it's only going to get better from here.